So it's been about 10, 11, 12 years.
Before we started, I had a chance to reminisce just a few minutes with you, but I remember, and I have to go back. Take you back a little bit.
Old school.
Old school. St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes, sir.
1970. Y'all came into the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
And that was my freshman year. And y'all came in and y'all ran the Dallas Cowboys out of the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to show up.
Well, why did you show up? Because you missed up.
I missed the memo.
What do you know? What do you still remember about that night when y'all came into the Cotton Bowl?
Oh, that we weren't supposed to be there, and that they were just supposed, and the Cowboys were just supposed to show up and roll the helmets on the field, and like I said, we missed the memo, and so we came in to play a conference game in that time.
Right.
And we had a point to prove, and so unfortunately, that was our last win that year, and we didn't make the playoffs, and the Cowboys did, and they went on to win the Super Bowl.
If I remember, you help me if I think what was Jim Hart? Hart was the quarterback.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And your running mate, who?
Well, I had a bunch. Myself. We had Sid Edwards, MacArthur Lane.
Right.
We had good running backs. We had can't remember all of them names.
Right.
Roy Shivers was a part of it because he ran a kickoff back. That's a lot of water going on.
Oh yeah. The game now. How do you relate to the game now as it stands, as opposed to the game that y'all played when running backs were considered a premium? Now they sort of like the premium's not on a running back anymore in this particular.
That's true. Well, the emphasis is not on running the football anymore. The emphasis is on throwing the football, and get some good young quarterbacks that have come through, and the development is in that area has been tremendous. But I'm old school. I like to run the football. If you control the clock, you can control the game. And so it's a different game today as it was at that time when I played.
You mentioned that you from the Corpus Christi area. You went that process of coming from Corpus Christi, going to St. Louis and everything. And you look, how do you assess your life where you are now and sort of looking back on it in your career and how do you how do you feel right now? What are your thoughts and how do you feel back then being part of that legacy of the NFL?
Well, starting from high school, I used to say come from Corpus Christi. In 1960, my high school team was the first integrated team to win the Texas 5A championship. So that was the springboard for me. I ended up signing with Oklahoma that year, but I didn't want to go too far from home because I was an only child. And but as it turned out, Missouri kept recruiting me. In those days, you didn't have the national letter of intent. You had a letter of intent to go to the Big 8. And so I ended up reconsidering my choice and I ended up going to University of Missouri.
Okay.
And as fortune would hold, I got drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals. So I just had to move 125 miles east.
Your team, the Cardinals, they've moved around a little bit. What do you call home now for as your professional team? What do you do? I know you still love St. Louis, and what do you place the Cardinals? They're not in Phoenix now.
Yeah, that's true. But I always will have a loyalty to the Cardinals. That was my first team. Got drafted. We had some pretty good teams. We were always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And still today, St. Louis is a real close-knit family. And so a lot of guys will come to St. Louis and generally strike up home. It's livable, it's affordable.
Right.
And so we all get together. It's a bunch of us that still live there. And it's always... to me, St. Louis has always kind of been like a second home. And of course, my mom is still alive, 100 years old.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, three months ago she turned 100. So I go back there probably 4 or 5 times a year.
Well, Mr. Roland, I promise you, I promise, because you got to go. You got to go do some duties, and I promise. But I really appreciate you.
And I can see her; she's kind of inching her way
Yeah,
over.
she's starting to come over here. I can feel that. But I appreciate it. In closing comments, I mean,
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Any closing comments from you?
Just God's good, and He's good all the time, and so I've been blessed all my life.
Thank you very much, sir.
Right.